What's going on, guys? It is Wyatt, and today is the day I'm going to be showing you guys the updates on the C10 race truck, as well as putting in some work on this thing. So, if you guys aren't aware, this truck has been sitting on the back burner for probably about 5 months now, 4 or 5 months. Life kind of got a little hectic when we were working on it. Then I decided to move to Florida, took a full-time job with Kyle, and it's kind of left me with minimal time to work on this thing, along with getting stuff done behind the scenes so that we have a good area that we can work on it, such as wiring the garage. So now that I've kind of got settled into the house, we're gonna have a bit more time to actually start working on this project again, and hopefully we can get it finished before it completely rusts apart. You gotta love that Florida weather. Anyways, let's go ahead and jump into it. I'm honestly not sure where along the build process you guys would have seen this thing last. It's been sitting for so long, and I don't think I actually filmed a lot of it once I started building the cage and stuff. Should probably just go back and look at my previous videos, but you know what, we're just gonna send it. I'm gonna show you guys where it currently sits and what we're gonna be working on today. So without further ado, here is the current state of the C10 race truck. Now, like I said, that Florida weather has already started to get to this thing. It's kind of got a little bit of surface rust going on, not gonna lie. So there's that. All things considered though, it's not really that bad. What mostly started this thing rusting was on the drive down here. I got a lot of condensation buildup in the trailer because of changing elevations or weather or whatever. I'm not really sure, but everything in the trailer got condensation on it. So that's what started the rusting. And then when I first got moved in here, I actually left the truck outside and it started to get rained on. So there's that. The plan is to have the whole truck media blasted at some point, hopefully within the next month or so. I want to get the chassis completely done, and that way I can go take the whole thing, have it blasted, bring it back here and paint it real quick so that we no longer have to have any issues with this rust. But like I said, it is surface rust. Quick little hit from the wire wheel takes it right off there. It's not pitting the metal yet or anything like that. So yeah, I don't want to chance it too much longer, but for right now, I'm not super worried about it. It definitely looks worse than it is. But like I said, the goal is to get the chassis completed here within the next month or so that I can get it over to the sandblast place or have somebody come out and blast it and then get this thing painted so we can start working on getting the body on it and all that stuff. But in the spirit of getting the chassis done, that's what we're going to be working on today. We've actually got some big changes that I'm going to be making to the back half of the truck here, and I guess I'll just go ahead and show you guys that. First thing to do is remove these two back bars here. Then we're going to straighten out this one frame rail as it kind of got a little tweaked from welding it. So yeah, we're gonna straighten that out and then we will start fabricating the double frame rails here. So let's go ahead, hop into a time lapse and see how much we can get done tonight. And go. Well guys, 2 weeks worth of work is finally coming to an end. We got the truck pretty much all ready for paint, and it's looking so much better than it did. If you guys were following along in the time lapse earlier in this video when we were doing the corner gussets for the cage, all these up here, and also these back bars, you guys would have noticed that this whole chassis was rusted from front to rear, and it kind of killed all my motivation to work on it. But now that I finally took the time to get every square inch of this thing sanded down and prepped for paint, I might be motivated to work on it a little bit more. So it is pretty late tonight. It's actually about 10 o'clock, but I'm gonna try and get color on this thing tonight so that it's just done. One more thing off the to-do list, and we're one step closer to getting the truck running. But before we jump into that, I just wanna show you guys the truck. I haven't really given you guys any in-depth updates about this thing in quite some time. Nothing's really changed, but this will kind of give you guys a look at the cage work and the chassis and kind of how far it's come. So there are a couple of small things left that I need to do to the chassis, just some extra little bars here and there. But for the most part, it is done, and I really just wanted to get it in color because this thing was rusting away pretty badly thanks to the humidity down here in Florida. So this is just one more thing I needed to get done. Figured I might as well do it now before it's too late and, you know, it starts rusting even worse than it was. Some things you might have noticed from the time lapse also is we got rid of a bunch of metal up here on the front of the chassis. So we got rid of our factory shock mounts that went up here. We are going to be running a coilover on the front of this truck, and we'll be building some custom brackets to hold that. So that had to go away. And we also got rid of all of our bump stop stuff that was over here, which would interfere in our coilover placement. So got rid of all that. We're going to be building a new bump stop setup for it that is going to be a lot smaller, take up a lot less room, and be a lot lighter than all that factory metal would have been right here as well. So that's kind of done, out of the way. Other than that, nothing else has changed up front. Just figured I'd give you guys that little update. But for right now, I think we're going to get set up a little paint booth, and hopefully that'll go smooth. Depending how late it is, by the time that's done, we'll try and put some color on the truck tonight. So yeah, cue another time lapse. Let's go ahead and get this paint booth set up. All right guys, it's finally time to start laying some paint on the C10 chassis. I've got this thing completely wiped down, blown off, and ready to go. Along with getting that thing prepped, I got the paint booth finished up last night. As you can see, we got some fans going up here with this all taped off to draw fresh air through the booth. And then over here we have some little vents down at the bottom that will hopefully suck in clean, fresh air. Up top is all taped off, same with this seam, so that hopefully we can keep all the dust out of here while we're painting this thing. As far as the paint and color, we're gonna be using this Astro Tools Europro HE gun. I'm super pumped to be trying this thing. As you guys know, Astro Tools has been a sponsor of the channel for quite some time now, so they hooked me up with this gun, and I'm really excited to give it a try. For the paint, we're just going with an epoxy primer in black. It's the same stuff that I use to paint the block for the engine that's actually going in this truck. I like it because it holds up really well. It is an epoxy primer, so it adheres really well and has great sealing capabilities when it's reduced a little bit. So that's what we're gonna be using. I also like that it dries kind of to a matte finish, and that's kind of what I'm going for on this truck. So just went ahead and chose to go with that stuff again. Got my respirator all set up. Had to go get a new one this morning because I couldn't find mine. So there's that. And yeah, we've already mixed the paint. We've let it do its induction time, and it's in the gun. We're ready to start spraying. So back on the time lapse for you guys, and we're gonna get this thing knocked out. Fast forward a couple of hours, the truck has been in the garage here curing. I went ahead and got the paint booth all torn down, and it's looking pretty good in here. Also tried to get the floor a little bit cleaned up. Definitely gonna take a little bit more work to get that back to how it was, but we'll get to that at another time. As far as the truck, I'm really happy with how this thing turned out. There's definitely a few small issues with it. You can't win them all, and especially being a perfectionist like I am, you know, I noticed all the little things that really wouldn't bother anybody else. But yeah, turned out great. I'll show you guys kind of some of the little issues we had here in a second. Just to prefix this, it's really hard to spray tube work, especially something like this. So when you think about this, you have your spray gun here. You can really only spray about 1/4 of the bar at one time. So you gotta spray the top, then underneath, then the sides, and you gotta kind of move around the bar to do so, because you can't just drape the hose over the bar on your fresh paint. So you really got to put some forethought into where you're going to spray and how you're going to get to the other side while maneuvering around this jungle gym. So being the inexperienced painter that I am, I don't really have that forethought. So I kind of kicked myself in the ass by spraying a couple of the bars and then having to, you know, crawl under it or jump over something to hit the other side. Because if you don't, you end up with a lot of overspray, which brings us to our next problem. So painting joints like this, right? You're painting from the inside and you're kind of spraying, you know, right here, you're spraying this bar at this angle, and all the overspray from the gun is landing on this back bar here. So now you have a nice wet surface here, which is how you want the paint to go on. But over here you have a really dry overspray condition. And that's just kind of one of the things you have to deal with. Like I said, working with tube work, and especially something like this, where you're shooting at one thing and the overspray is hitting another, you kind of get a weird textured finish because of that dry overspray. So that is the second problem. And then the third problem is the overspray. So the Astro gun worked really good, but I'm unfamiliar with it. So kind of playing with the settings and trying to get it all set right. Also while being, you know, just very flustered with everything going on while you're trying to paint this and keep a wet edge and all that stuff. I got some overspray on this thing and got some runs in it. So something we'll have to deal with in the future. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Doesn't really bother me that much. They're kind of hard to see, except the camera's gonna highlight them really well. So you can see this drip right here. There's a couple of those on the chassis. I ain't gonna lie to you guys. You know, I got a little bit worked up at some point and I just freaking laid her on thick, and that's what you get some days. But otherwise, like I said, I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's definitely way better than it was, and it's probably way better than it needs to be. It's getting there, slowly but surely. Hopefully soon we will get the cab put on it. That's hopefully what we'll be doing next, is actually getting the cab prepped and ready to go on. Once we get the cab mounted on this thing, we can start fabbing up firewall, floorboards, you know, mounting the rest of the sheet metal to it. The bedside's got to go on, get the engine in it, get it plumbed, wired, everything ran for that stuff. And then hopefully in 5 years it runs. Just kidding. My plan's actually to try and make a pass in this thing by the end of the year. So we're going to be putting in some work, trying to get it done for you guys. Sorry it's been so long since I uploaded. The move to Florida and just life kind of gets in the way sometimes. And another thing is, I don't really like to upload videos if I don't feel that I have enough to upload one on. So it's kind of where we're at. I've got 2 other videos in the works. Hopefully those will be coming out soon. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Enjoy seeing the C10 updates. I know it's a lot of talking, a lot of time lapse in this one, but we're making freaking progress, guys. We're getting there. Slowly but surely. This thing's gonna start coming together. I'm freaking pumped. I'm also tired because it's like 1 in the morning right now. So yeah, that's where we're gonna leave it for today. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave it a like. Give me a comment down below. I love hearing from you guys. And we will see you in the next one. Peace.